So on this episode of 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Mike, who everybody thinks is such a great guy, showed his true colors, and Usman did exactly what I hoped he wouldn't do. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Debbie. I am the she in reality TV, but first things first. On this channel, I typically do 90 Day Fiancé commentary, some other reality TV, but mostly 90 Day Fiancé and all of its iterations. But I have another channel on which I do lifestyle and social commentary, and that channel is called Brain Candy. I'll put the link to it in the description box for this video. Now back to reality. So like I said in the intro, Mike showed his true colors, and Usman, if you listen to the podcast, the last episode of the podcast, you know exactly what I hoped Usman wouldn't do, and in this episode, he actually did it. But it looked more like something that production would do, because I can't see this man having the ability to do this kind of thing. But anyways, let's talk about Mike and Ximena first. So, this production decided to go with the same old, typical storyline that Mike paid for all of Ximena's stuff, and so she's a gold digger because she's allowing him to pay her rent and pay her for her furniture and all of that other kind of stuff. But if it wasn't for her Instagram, we will still be thinking that she's such a bitch, because how could she allow Mike to pay for all of her stuff? And she doesn't, as it turns out, she doesn't like him. Well, because of her Instagram, we know that she and Mike did not meet on Tinder or any other dating site. They actually met on a cam site. She was one of those cam chicks who takes off her clothes in front of the camera, and Mike was one of her customers. It was because Mike didn't want her to do that anymore, or didn't want other men to be able to look at her, which is probably the truth of the matter. He offered to pay all of her expenses if she stopped doing it. So, I don't know. I feel like that right there told me that Mike was not going to turn out to be the kind of person that we all thought he was. Because on this past episode, Ximena decided that, you know what? I don't want you. I don't want you. You make me sick. I don't want to be in the same environment as you. And, you know, he kept threatening or saying or whatever it was he was doing, that he was going to go stay in a hotel and then leave the next day. I think he was trying to get her to say, no, I don't want you to leave. And she actually did. She said, don't leave, stay. And then he says, will you sleep with me? And I think I grabbed that somewhere. And if I did, I'll put it up here. I can't stand him. Anyways, she says that they're not going to sleep together anymore. He can stay at the house, but they're not going to sleep together anymore. And then he decides that, you know what, well, maybe he'll go home, and she convinces him to stay. And he says, will you sleep with me? I hate this guy. And you can see that she's conflicted, right? Now she feels obligated, which is exactly why he paid for all of the stuff that he paid for. So that if for no other reason, she would feel obligated to be with him. This dude is a gross little cockroach who decided that, you know what? I ain't getting it any other way. I'm going to pay for one. He tried to pay for a relationship. He tried to buy a woman, and it didn't work out. Dude, take the L and move on. Like, she don't want to be with you. After she said that she doesn't want to be with him, they actually got into it because she told him that he should go to a hotel. Every time she calls his bluff, he gets ugly, right? She told him, you know what? You need to go to a hotel and leave tomorrow, because that's what he's been threatening to do this entire time. So finally she says, you know what? Go to a hotel. You stay at a hotel tonight, you leave tomorrow. And he decides now that he wants to push back. And he says he's not going anywhere. He actually says the words,
I pay the rent on this place, so I'm not going anywhere.
Boy, I would have grabbed him by the... Oh my God. This little cockroach runs upstairs. I can't stand him. Everybody thinks he's such a great guy, and he calls her a bitch and all this other kind of stuff. In the next episode, he calls her a punta, and I'm like, yeah. Everybody thought he was so great. When she was telling us that, you know what, he's not. He has an ugly temper. He slams doors and punches walls. And now we get to see that Mike is not a great guy. Mike is a gross little cockroach who couldn't get a woman any other way but to offer to pay for her life. And that's what he got. And then when she met him, she thought, nah, no, I don't like this. And she finally got the nerve, maybe because she started seeing the guy that I posted a while back, maybe because she started seeing him, she decided, you know what, I don't want this. I don't want this guy, he's gross. And when she tried to kick him to the curb, he decided he wasn't going. But anyway, that's it for Mike and Ximena. Again, from that whole story, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because this production company decided, you know what? Hey, let's make it look like she's, a gold digger. And all she wanted was his money. Well, all she wanted was his money. Like I said before, this was a business deal. She wanted his money. He wanted to sleep with her. No harm, no foul. I refuse to say the words, oh, Mike is such a nice guy. Mike is a dick. That's all I got from Mike and Ximena. Let's talk about Usman and Kim. Okay, so in the intro, I said Usman did exactly what I hoped he wouldn't do. And again, if you listen to the podcast, I was like, I'm hoping that he doesn't turn around and actually, after telling her a safe flight, because she, again, threatened to leave, just like Mike did. She threatened to leave if he didn't do something big to prove that he loves her. Bitch, if you strong-arm the man into proving that he loves you, he's not going to love you. This man doesn't love you. He loves being on TV. And on my Instagram, there's a clip, I think in my reels, there's a clip of him saying that he actually wanted to be on the show with Zara. In fact, Zara still has her contract. She was supposed to be on the show with him, but their relationship ended before the show started shooting. So after Zara bowed out, we all know he jumped online and found Kimberly, or went into his DMs and found her. And here she is trying to handcuff him into saying, I love you, and admitting that she is the one. But yeah, after telling her, she threatened to leave, and he said, safe flight. And so she was, standing around. She's actually packing, planning to go to the airport or whatever. And then he texts her and says,
come meet me outside, meet me at the bar.
Whatever. And she's talking to the cameraman, and there's all of this back and forth. Like, should I go? Should I not go? And then he says, yeah, meet me now, whatever. And she goes down to the bar, and he's got this, or should I say, production set up, rose petals in the shape of a heart and champagne and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, yeah, Usman, yeah, no, you didn't do any of that. He did none of that. That was all about production. That had nothing to do with Usman. So, and she's sitting there, and he says, I love you. And she says, oh my God, I love you, blah, 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 whatever. But honestly speaking, I feel like this thing is going to peter out. As soon as she gets on that plane, they'll be done. I think that he went along with production with the whole, this demonstration of love. And I'm sorry, I do that a lot, don't I? He went along with this whole demonstration of love. This dude is all about camera time and clout. Nothing else. That's all he wants. Camera time and clout. It's because he thinks it's going to help his career. Yeah, dude, that's not going to happen. I don't know anyone who is actually going to bring you to the U.S. I don't think any of these women are actually going to bring him to the U.S. I think that they're looking for Young D, and they find Usman. Kim obviously was looking for Young D. All of these Americans are looking for sex. They go where they go. They go to other countries. Like I said before, they go to other countries because it's easier to get. Well, for them, it's easier to get there. They can't get what they're looking for where they live. They can't find it in their own backyard, so they get online and go looking for someone who needs something from them to find it. Yeah, Kim and Usman are supposedly at the end of this episode, they're I don't know, saying I love you to each other. Ew. Let's talk about Ben and Mahogany. Yeah, he decides, okay, so in the last episode, he stood up Mahogany and her parents for breakfast. He didn't know that her parents were there, but she texted him and told him that she's sitting there waiting with her parents. And he says, oh my, I didn't know your parents were there, but he doesn't go, right? And he tells her that he wants to talk to her parents alone. This dude's got some giant balls, bigger balls than he should feel like he's entitled to have. But he wants to talk to her parents alone, and so she tells her dad that, and her dad decides, you know what, no, I'm not doing that. This dude is a manipulator. This Ben dude is a manipulator. And because he can't manipulate her and her family the way that he was hoping he'd be able to, like with that, he wrote her, I think I told you in the last episode, he wrote her this long ass text message, and he got, pouring out his feelings or whatever. And he actually had the nerve to be pissed off because she didn't respond. She didn't respond. And because she said she wanted to talk about it the following day, didn't respond. So he's all pissy, throwing his little tantrum.
I want to talk to your parents. I don't want to talk to you.
So they agreed that her parents will meet. And instead of her dad showing up, she shows up with a letter from her dad, basically saying, dude, I ain't playing this game. So once she gives him the letter, they have a little bit of small talk. And then she leaves. She says, I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk to you. And she leaves. So I don't know what's going to happen with those two. He goes to her room, like in another scene, he goes to her room and a guy answers, and apparently she left the night that they spoke, right? That wouldn't make sense. She left the night before he actually went to her room to like talk to her again. I just feel like this guy is just a manipulator. He is, and that would be part of the reason probably that he's actually wanted to start dating a 24-year-old at 52 years old. And then when he finds out she's 22, it really doesn't make a difference. Like, all he said was, oh, well, she lied about her age. But I don't think there's anything this woman could say that would make him go away. I don't. I really don't. All of the red flags that he's getting from her, he decides that he's not going to mention any of them. And yeah, again, just like Mike, just like Kim, he's there for what he can get, right? He's there for what he can get, feeling like, you know what, she feels like she can't do better, or like because she feels like she needs something from him, he can hold that over her head. The same way that Mike's holding the furniture and everything else over Ximena's head. Going back to that, I laughed my ass off when she said, take it all. When he threatens to, I'm going to take everything that I bought, I'm going to take it back to New York with me. Go with God, buddy. Go with God. She said, good, great, take it. Take it all. Don't pay my rent. Don't give me any more money. Don't pay my bills. Don't pay my nothing. That, I was happy about that. But anyways, yeah, I cannot. With Ben and Mom, I can't. And I'm glad that she left, but I don't know. I've been looking at Reddit and I don't know. I on one level, I hate social media because we can see what's happened since the show was actually shot. We can see what's happened since then. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I wonder how they went from that to this, or was this all some made up BS, which likely it is, but I can't understand why this 22-year-old would still be with this 52-year-old baby. I don't get it. I can't understand. But anyway, that's all I've got for 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days for this video. Again, as usual, thanks for watching, and don't forget to come visit me over on Brain Candy.